Good morning, welcome to Earth Games UK's second lesson about how to create a hedgehog conservation game in Scratch. My name's Nicola and I'll be helping you create the game each week. I'll also show you where you can find resources if you're stuck, and at the end of each weekly lesson there'll be a live Q&A session where we can help you with any queries. Watch out for the link at the end of our video or check out the website earthgames.uk for details. Last week we started making the game. Hopefully that went well for you. If you had any problems, ask them later in the Q&A. Your hedgehog should now move around the garden following your arrow commands. Also, the hedgehog should bounce back from the fence and appear in random place each time the player starts the game. So this week we're going to move on to variables. Have you used them before? If you've played with Scratch already, then you may have done, but if not, let's take a look at what they are. The easiest way is to show you in the complete hedgehog game, so let's go to that now. So here's the game that we looked at last time. Do you remember how to play it? You press the space bar to start, you drive the hedgehog around. So hog health is up here at the top right, that's the health of our hedgehog. It starts at 100 in our game. So look what happens if I eat a beetle. Did you see? It went up to 110. So let's eat another beetle. It went up to 120. So variables are kind of like a box that we put some information into. Hog health is always there. We tell it what value it is. We can say about changes to it. So if we eat a beetle, it increases. What happens if we do something that's not so good for hedgehogs? Let's go through the gate here. See, we've got some nets down there. Remember, they weren't very good for hedgehogs, so I'm going to, on purpose, go down here to the net. I might end up, I've eaten a worm as well. So I've gone in the net. I'll come out again. There we go. Dear me, my health's going down a lot, isn't it? Can you see it's down at 127, 125? So I'm losing a couple of health points each time I'm in there. So the variable stays here, but the value of it changes. So think of it like a box that we put something into. We can change the value, but the box is always there. So now let's go to our game and see what we need to do next. So you need to go to Scratch and log in. So scratch.mit.edu. You need to log in. Once you're logged in, the next bit's important. You need to find your stuff. So click on here. This is My Stuff. That's where all your projects will be that you've ever created in Scratch. So here we go. I've got Hedgehog Fun here. So if I click See Inside, that will take me to my game. So you should be able to find your game. Remember, you might have called it something different. So there we go. It's loading. So last week we got the hedgehog moving around and bumping into the side and coming back again. I think my hedgehog's over there for some reason. Let's drag him back over here. There we go. So I've got my game. This is the code that I made last time. It's all still there. That's fantastic. Now we need the instructions as well. So in another tab or window, go to earthgames.uk, and if we click on Learn and go to Online Resources, you can find the instructions for today's lesson. Let's have a look and see. So if another time you want to create further things in your lesson, go on to the next lesson, you can find all the resources on here. So we need lesson 2 now. We're on lesson 2. So this will open a slideshow where you can see what we're going to do today. So I know what we're going to do, so I can run you through it. But if you get stuck, need more explanation, you can look in here. And remember, if we look at any of these, there's videos in there to help explain anything. First, we're going to start with creating a variable called speed. Let's go back to our game in Scratch. Here we are. So on the left-hand side in the categories over here is variables. Click on this and we're going to make a variable. So click on Make a Variable. We're going to call this one speed. We want to make it for all sprites. This is a global variable. It means all the sprites can use it and change it. We don't want it to be for this one only. So make sure for all sprites is clicked and then press OK. So can you see over here we've got some new things that have appeared suddenly on the left there. And here in our game is speed up in the top corner there. So there's our box. At the moment it's 0. We haven't done anything with it. It just defaults to 0. So the first thing we want to do is when our game starts, we want to set that to a particular value. So we're going to use speed to dictate how fast or slow our hedgehog is going. So we want to get this block here, set speed to 0 at the moment, and put it in one of the blocks just after the when flag clicked. And we're going to set speed to 2. So we want the hedgehog to go 2 spaces, because that's what we put down here, wasn't it? Change x by 2. Now we can start using that variable. So if we go down here, we want to change x by speed now. So let's grab speed and put it in. So you can see that x will change by 2 because we've said speed is 2 up here. Let's try that out. So that was for the right arrow. If I go right, yeah, my hedgehog still works and goes right the same amount as going left or right, left or down or up. There we go. Let's stop the game there. Let's scroll down. So here again, we need to change the Y one, to change Y by speed for the up arrow. So there we go. If we go down a bit, these two here, so the left arrow and down arrow, is slightly more tricky because we've got -2. Now, an easy way to do this in Scratch is to go to operators, and we can get this block here, take away. So you can see it's got a take away sign in the middle. We want to put that in there. So instead of -2, what we're going to do is say that it's 0 takeaway speed. So that will make speed into a minus number and make it go the right direction. So speed up here is 2. So if we put 0 take away 2, that's -2, and that's what we want. So here we need to go to the variables section and get speed. There we go, stick it in. Great. Let's check that works, because it's easy to make a mistake in these things. So that was left. Yeah, that still works, doesn't it? Perfect. So now we need to look at the next one. I'll just stop my hedgehog. There we go. Down arrow. Again, we need a -2 here. So let's go to operators. Get this takeaway block. Put it in here. And again, we want to do 0. And then we're going to, from the variables section, get a speed block and put it in there. So again, whenever you do anything in Scratch, check that it works. So does my hedgehog still go down? Perfect. And left and up and right, or left and right. And also up here, can you see it says save now? So I can save those changes as well. Let's just test that out then. So what happens if speed is a bigger number? We can change it really easily now. Instead of having to change it in 4 different places, we can just change it here. So if I change speed to 10, that means all of these blocks will have changed because they've just got this orange speed in. Let's see. Oh yeah, my hedgehog is zooming along now. So you can try that out in your game, see what happens. What if I change it to 100? Let's have a look. Whoa. So I think that's a bit fast, isn't it? I think we'll stick with it being 2. But have a play with it in your game just so you can understand how easy it is with variables, because we only have to change it in one place and yet it affects all of these blocks. It's much easier than changing all the code everywhere else. Okay, now we're going to add another variable. So go to the variables category and click on make a variable. So this one we're going to call hog health. So this is to measure how healthy the hedgehog is. And we're going to have it again global for all sprites so everyone can change it, and press OK. There we go, hog health's appeared here, and in your stage here we've got hog health at the moment is 0. If you played the full game, you might have noticed that at the beginning of the game we set the hog health to 100, so the hedgehog starts off as fairly healthy, and then different things happen to make him more unhealthy or more healthy. So get set hog health block and put it after the set speed block and set it to 100. So let's check that's worked. Click the green flag. Great, see it's gone to 100. Now we're going to add another sprite, so that means another character down here, something that's good for the hedgehog. Can you think of anything? You might have thought of food, which we are going to add next week. Today they were going to add some water, because water, everybody needs that. So hover over this thing at the bottom, choose a sprite, and go up to this option, paint, and click on it. So this is where we can design our own sprite. We're going to call it Shallow Pond. You can call yours something slightly different if you want, just as long as you know which one it is. And you can also name the costume, which is our design here. So we want our pond to be a particular colour, so you can use the sliders here to choose what colour you want. I like this blue. and we want to make a circle. The outline is the edge of the shape. So if you want an outline, you'd choose a colour. It's normally defaults to black, but we don't want an outline. So click this red line here. So we don't want an outline. Now click somewhere else. So if I draw a circle, let's see what happens. Very nice. I know it looks huge over here, but don't panic. We'll change that later. So what do you think? I think I might go for an oval. So if I don't like that, I can click this button here, which is undo. There we go, gone. So I'm going to have another go. I'm going to make an oval pond. There we go. Once you're happy with your design, go down here to the size of the sprite. So if you double click on this, you can delete that number and change it to a different number. So I'm going to try 20. Oh, I think that's a bit small. Let's change it to something else. I'm going for 35 maybe. Yeah, I like that. And if you click and drag it, you can move it to where you want. So I'm going to put mine, I think over there. There we go. Now we need to add some code so that the hedgehog gains some health from going to the water. So go up to the top left here, it says code, and click there. In here, we want to make sure we're in the code area for the shallow pond. You can see the pond symbol here, and the pond is highlighted down here. Otherwise, if you're in the hedgehog, you'd see lots of code, so you should see no code in here at the moment. We haven't added any yet. Click on the events category, and from here, get a when flag clicked block. And then from the control section, you guessed it, we get a forever loop. There we go. Inside the forever loop, we want a if loop. There we go. Put it inside, so make sure it's inside the forever loop. So what we want to happen is when the hedgehog touches the pond, the health increases. So if the hedgehog is touching the pond, we need to get a block from sensing to do that. So touching mouse pointer, I know it says touching mouse pointer, but put it in and then click this drop down. There we go, touching hedgehog. So if the pond is touching the hedgehog, then we want the health to change, don't we? So go to variables and get this one, change hog health by 1. There we go. So let's see what happens. Let's click the green flag and I'm going to take my hedgehog to the pond. Well, as you can see, we've got a few issues. Look at the hog health, it's going really high and my hedgehog's going under the pond because I forgot to add some code. Let me stop that there. So the first thing I'm going to do is fix the hedgehog going under the pond. So go to the looks category, scroll down a bit. There we go, we've got to go to front layer. We want to grab this block and put it after the when flag clicked. Click the drop down and change it to back. So now if my hedgehog goes to the pond, let's go see. Yeah, so my hedgehog's in front of the pond. But look at the health, it's still going really high. We need to add a wait block in there to slow that down a bit. Go to the control category and right at the top we've got wait 1 second. Put that in after the change hog health. So make sure they're both inside the if loop. Click the green flag and then let's try that out. So if we go to the pond, yeah, the health is going up but slowly. I think that's better, isn't it? Lovely. Now we're going to add another variable. This one we're going to add is called timer. So go to variables and make a variable. You'll be getting really good at this now. This is the third one we've done. Call it timer. We want it for all sprites again and press OK. Again, we've got timer here and there's the timer with 0 at the moment. But we've got quite a bit of code elsewhere, so we're going to hide some code out the way in the backdrop. So if you click on the backdrop down here, so that's the garden picture, there's no code in here yet, so let's add it in here. From the events category, get a when flag clicked block. And the first thing we need to do is set the timer to 0, because when someone's played the game, it would be a higher value, so we need to put it back to 0. So get this one. I know it says hog health, but we can change that. Set hog health to 0, but we want to set timer to 0. There we go. Once the timer is set to 0, we need a forever loop. These are in the control category, as you probably know by now. Grab one of those and put it in. And so we want to always, after 1 second, add 1 to the timer. So go to the top of the control category. Here we've got wait 1 second. Grab that one, put it in there. So after 1 second, we want to increase the timer value. So go to variables, and here we've got change hog health by 1. I know it says hog health, but don't worry. We can click the drop down here and change it to timer. Let's try that out. There we go, you can see the timer going up nicely, 2, 3, 4. That's perfect. Great, you've done everything for this lesson. Let me tell you about what we're going to do next week. Well done, that was really good. You've done a lot of work on variables and it can be confusing. If you need a bit more help to understand them, check out the video in the description for some more explanation. If you've got it, then that's great. If you've got any problems, then join us for the live Q&A at 10:30, so in a few minutes, and you can ask any questions that you've got in the chat on the side. If you have questions during the week, then just use our website and click on the Ask an Expert link and send your questions in, and we'll do our best to answer them. Next week, we'll be moving on to adding some more characters, some more sprites to our game, adding some food for the hedgehog, and using that hog health variable some more. So it'll be lots more fun. Join us next week at 10 o'clock on Friday for the next lesson.